Hi, in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at OBS command, a minimal OBS CLI for OBS WebSocket version 5. Basically what this is it's a command line interface to the OBS WebSocket included in the latest versions of OBS Studio. And this will allow you to control OBS from the command line. And this is important because most of the CLI tools are for the version 4 of the WebSocket, so won't work with the latest release of OBS. So this is for Linux, Mac and Windows, and as I said, it's a minimal API that is supported. So these are the commands we have. We can switch scene, we can switch the camera, we can toggle recording, streaming start, virtual cam start, replay toggle, replay save, and show some info. So let's get this installed and have a look at how it actually works. So what you need to do is come across to the release page down here and download either the Linux, Mac or Windows version. So just come across and go to the releases and download it. So for Linux, what you need to do is actually download this and make this script executable and put it in your bin directory. So let's download it. I've already done this. So we're going to download this. You can see it's coming down here. MV downloads. And what you need to do, you don't need to call it OBS command Linux. You can just call it OBS command like that. And then change mod +X OBS command. It's now executable, and what you need to do is move it to a directory in your shell's path. So in my case, what I've done is put it in my bin directory here, OBS command. But if you have a look at the instructions, if you don't have a bin directory in your home, what you can do is move it to user local bin. So that's it installed. The next step is actually getting this working with OBS Studio. So what you need to do is actually come across to your OBS setup and enable the WebSocket and create a password. Then once you've done that, what you need to do is create this file, .config obs-command.toml. Annoyingly, they are not following XDG specification completely and putting it in its own sort of directory here, which is a bit annoying. So let's switch across to OBS Studio and actually show you this the setup. So ignore the display like this. I could just disable that. No, was it? Yeah, just disable that for a second. Or do I? Oh no, okay. So what we need to do is come across to WebSocket server settings. And what you'll see is this page up here. What you need to do is check enable WebSocket server, enable authentication, and leave the port as it is. Then what you're going to do is click generate password, and you can't actually select the password from here. Okay, what you need to do is click show connect info. Yeah, I do want to show that. So what we have here is the randomly generated password that I'll change after this video. So here's the server IP port and the password. So what you do is you copy the password like that. We'll close that and we'll switch back to the laptop and put the code in here. Okay. So that's the obs-cmd.toml in your .config directory. And that's it set up. So what we can now do is actually test this and see how it works. So again, these are the commands that we've got. So the only one that we're actually really going to be interested in this, because we're going to use this to switch scenes. I don't really use cameras. Recording toggles handy so you can stop and start, but I'm not going to be really using streaming, virtualcam, or any of this other stuff. So let's have a look at this. So we've got this in our bin directory. So OBS command, if I type info, what it's going to do is it's going to print out a load of stuff here. And initially I thought that these would be supported commands, but they're not actually. This is actually showing you available requests, but none of these seem to actually work. Okay, so we can't really do much with that. So the only one we can really do is switching scenes. So we're going to do OBS command, and what you'll see here is the command is OBS command scene switch and then the name of the scene. Now the important thing here is there's no auto completion. There's no auto completion for the options or the scene names. So you have to type stuff out manually. So if I want to do OBS scene switch, and then I have a couple of scenes. I've got 3 scenes called laptop, monitor, and video. So if I do scenes OBS command scene switch monitor, what you'll see is that is now switched to the monitor there. If I do laptop, you can now see it switched back to the laptop. And finally, I'll do video to show you a video. And that's a video playing in the media source. Okay, so pretty simple stuff, not much to play around with. But what I also thought I'd do is let me just switch that back to the monitor. So what I want to do is actually show you the, can I show you this? The media source is going to capture, I don't think it's going to actually capture the thingy, the screen. But with the media source, what you need to do is if I come across advanced audio properties, for the media source, which is actually not showing on this screen, what you need to do is set it to monitor and output, and then deselect all the tracks. And what will happen is the audio from the media source will come out through your headphones, but it will also be recorded by the desktop audio. But you need to deselect all the tracks for the media source, because otherwise it's going to double up on the audio. It will repeat it twice. So not much to play around with, as I said. Pretty simple. We've just got OBS command scene switch and then the scene name. And again, from my brief look at this, there doesn't appear to be a way to auto-complete the scene names on the command line, which is a bit annoying. Especially if you've got really long scene names. So if you're using this, I'd advise you to keep the scene names short, because you're going to have to manually type them in. So you can have a play around with some of these other options, like for the camera, starting streaming, virtual cam, replay, toggle, that sort of thing. But the one that interested me were these two, the scene switch and the recording toggle. Let me just have some more tea. So the other thing is, it may be possible to use this. I don't know if it'd be possible to use this with a Wayland shortcut. So let's try creating a keyboard shortcut. So we'll come across the keyboard, view and customize settings, custom shortcuts. And what we'll just do is we'll call this OBS, we'll call it laptop scene or something. And we'll put in the command here, OBS switch laptop. And what keyboard shortcut should we use? we'll just pick something that's not going to be used. Alt Control Y or something. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the monitor, and then I'm going to come across here and press Alt Control Y and see if that works. Yep, there we go. That worked. Okay, so switch that back to the monitor, press Alt Control Y, and it switches to the laptop screen. So great. The keyboard shortcuts will actually work with Wayland. So again, all you need to do is keyboard shortcuts, custom keyboard shortcuts, put one in with the plus button, give it a name, command, OBS, command, scene switch, laptop, give it a shortcut, and we're done. So that works. So you can create a load of keyboard shortcuts for Wayland, for example, to switch scenes, toggle the recording, streaming start, that sort of thing. So that's all good. That's all working. It's a bit of a limited set of commands we've actually got to work with, but you can see it here. OBS CLI, and this was last updated about 5 months ago, but yeah, 2022 was the last release. But this doesn't actually support the version 5 of the WebSocket that is included in, I believe it's OBS 28 or 29. So that's why I wanted to find something else to actually control OBS Studio, albeit in a sort of limited way. It still means that we can actually switch scenes and you know, stop and start more easily. We can add custom keyboard shortcuts, and what we can do is we can actually create a wrapper around this script. We could use something like FZF to create a command line interface with all these different options and a list of scene names, so that we could easily sort of control OBS from the command line using auto completion and that sort of thing. So that's another possibility. But as I said, a couple of things. It's you got ARM version for Linux. You got you know, x64. You got Mac OS X, and you've got Windows. So we got Linux, Mac, and Windows all covered. So that's good. I don't see any notes on actually installing this for Windows, but I presume you just download the exe, put it somewhere, and run it. But for Linux and Mac, what you just need to do is download it, make it executable, rename it to OBS command, and you can either put it in your user local bin directory if you don't have a bin directory in your home, or just put it in your bin directory, and then you'll be able to use it from the command line. I said if you run obs command -h, you know, I don't think it's, has it got help? No. So yeah. And it's actually a it's not a script that you can edit. It's not like a shell script, okay? So you can't dive into it and you know, change some stuff. So that's all there is to it. Download it, make it executable, stick it in your bin directory, then go to your OBS setup, come across to WebSocket server settings, enable the WebSocket server, authentication, and at first I was having a bit of issue with the authentication because I was being stupid. So remember, generate password, show connect info, You'll see this up here. Don't worry, I'm going to change this password afterwards. Copy that. Okay. And then come across, and in your config OBS command toml file, you've got obs ws password equals double quotes, and then just put that string in there, and then you will actually be able to connect and run some of these commands. So I said this is useful because it makes switching scenes a lot easier, rather than having to switch across to OBS and click the buttons. And again, you can use this with Wayland hotkeys, so that's an advantage. And as I said, what you could do is you could actually knock up a little FZF script with some of these options, put in some different scene names, so that you could basically just run the FZF command on the terminal, you know, search for scene name, and it would automatically switch to it. So that's something for another day. But I just thought this would be quite useful, as there aren't actually many OBS Studio supported WebSocket thingies. There's a page somewhere with, this is the I think it's the old release. Yeah, it's included in 28 and above. And yeah, this is some of the client software. So this is another one. OBS Web is actually quite good. Okay, so you can actually self-host this or use this website. And basically what you do is just put in your password here and click connect. And it actually comes up with images of your scenes up here. And you can then sort of click and connect, but I won't put that. Will I put that? Shall I put it now? Yeah, why not? Okay, let's see if we can get this demo as well. Might as well. This will work. Okay, there we go. So this is nicer. So what we've got is actually the scenes auto-populated. So laptop, monitor, video. I can click that, and you can see it's switching to the monitor. Laptop, video, now it's playing video there. And you've got other stuff like start virtual webcam, studio mode, scene on top, edit scenes, show scene icons. You've got stuff for changing the profile. So you've got a lot more options with this, web UI up here. That's the OBS Web, obs-web.niek.tv, and will give you a lot more controllability over OBS. But I wanted to do this from the command line rather than sort of, you know, clicking in a web page. But I just thought I'd show you some of the supported clients for the WebSocket 5. You can see the OBS command isn't actually listed here. A lot of these are some of these will be, I think, Windows only, or integrated with other things like Macro Deck, or some of these. I haven't tried any of these other ones. I think StreamerBot, I think that may be something that perhaps is used with, what's that other thing that forks from OBS Studio, Streamlabs or something. I'm not sure if that's coming from that side of things, but this is the only one I've tried, the web version. But as I said, I wanted to have a look at a command line version, because that will allow us to create our own kind of wrapper or front end around it to make it a bit easier to use. Because I said the problem with this is twofold. You've got no auto completion for any of these commands. I tried adding a simple ZSH trick that will enable auto completion for commands, and that didn't work. So that's a bit of a pain that you actually have to manually type these out. So you've got to type OBS command scene switch and then type out the name. So there's no auto completion for the commands down here. or the scenes that you've got built in. So you can't start typing L, A and press tab and have it autocomplete to laptop if you've got a scene called laptop, or MO tab to autocomplete to monitor. You've got to type the full name of the scene out. So it's not ideal in that sense if you want to switch, because if I want to switch quickly to another scene, see, I can't tab. I've got a scene switch monitor between laptop, like that. So that's not ideal. So that's why you would want to have some kind of wrapper around this script that will allow you to sort of put in some scenes kind of hard coded, as it were, so that you can easily switch to them. But I'll put links to all that, all these bits and pieces. Easy to get set up. So Linux, Mac, Windows, download it, stick it in your bin directory or the equivalent on Windows. Set up enable the web server, the WebSocket server on OBS Studio. Put the password in as it shows you down here. Create the configuration file in config obs-command.toml. Put in the password that you got from there, and you're good to go. And you can then control OBS from the command line, or use the command with hotkeys, for example. So that's all for now, and hope that helps out using OBS.